There we are.
Welcome to Sports and Songs. This is Season 2, Episode 2 with your hosts, Dan and Andy. Today is February 12th, 21. How are you doing, Andy?
You said Season 2, Episode 2.
Episode 12.
See, that's why I'm here to help you out.
It's been a long week. Episode 12 we're on this year. So it's a Friday night. It's the big Valentine's Day weekend, and it's the Daytona 500 weekend.
And pitchers and catchers going this week.
I was going to touch on that a little bit. We got pitchers and catchers reporting for spring training. For next week's show, we'll have all the teams will have completed their first day of practice. This coming week, February 17th, in the Grapefruit League, 6 teams report for their very first practice on the 17th. On the 18th, 7 teams have their very first practice. And on the 19th, last of all, the Twins and the Mets are the last 2 teams to report for first practice for the Grapefruit League.
Practice?
And for the listeners that aren't familiar, there's 30 teams in Major League Baseball. 15 of them train in Florida. They call that the Grapefruit League. And in Arizona, they call it the Cactus League. The other 15 teams train there. It crosses over American League, National League. And on the 17th of this coming week, on Wednesday, 9 teams have their first workout in the Cactus League. The following day on Thursday, the rest of the teams, 6, show up. And so, like I said, the Twins and Mets are the last 2. But next week, by this time, all the teams will have completed their very first practice in the spring training. And, boy, that's going to go quick before the regular season kicks off.
Yeah, I know someone got exhibition games end of February already.
Now, we've got a trivia question also for the weekend.
Yes, let's start off with that. We'll get the show rolling.
Trivia question for this week is this. The Daytona 500 is Sunday. Which group or which team has the most wins in Daytona 500 history? Which team, which group?
Yeah.
So that's the answer to that at the end of the sports segment.
Nice.
Here today.
I remember you talking about the Grapefruit and Cactus League. I remember as a kid, I think the Cactus League only had like 8 teams to start with. And then with expansion, with Colorado and Arizona getting expansion teams, all that, they kind of shuffled some teams over there.
Yeah, now it's an even 15, but you're right. It used to always be most of the teams in Florida and just a handful in Arizona. Now, the difference is in Florida, they're spread out basically throughout the whole state. Arizona, It's concentrated really within 2 or 3 cities. They're all really concentrated. There's not a lot of travel by bus or anything for those games. It's all very close. But Florida, they're all around the state.
All right. We'll get started like we usually do with the high school rankings.
Yes.
Max Prep Sports, like we said, does supply some of our rankings. The rest are by the Star Trib. Max Preps with the boys basketball, Class A. Minoan first, Nevis second, and Legacy Christian Academy in Andover, they got it third. AA is Waseca, Caledonia, and Melrose. Now, again, remember all these rankings came out like Tuesday earlier in the week. Some of these teams may have played games Thursday or Friday already, and so we'll just go with it on that. AAA, Minnehaha Academy, South St. Paul, and Hibbing Victory Christian Academy. And in 4A, Duluth East, Hopkins, and Moundsview. Don't see Duluth East up there a lot for basketball. Every now and then they'll have a good team come through. But girls, Class A, Belgrade first, Minneota second, Kingsland, Spring Valley third. AA, Elsco, Stewartville, and then Marshall, Lakeview Christian Academy third. 3A, Wilmer, Casson Montanville, and Waconia third. And in 4A, Hopkins, Minnetonka, Farmington. I think those 3 have been up in the top 4 or 5 all year anyway. They just kind of keep bouncing around. Volleyball, Class A, Belgrade, Maple Canton, and Foston in third. Stewartville, Maple Lake, and Albany are the 2A representatives, and 3A, Wayzata, Monticello, and Eastridge. Boys hockey, these come to us with the Star Tribune supplying those. 2A, Maple Grove, Benilde, St. Margaret, and Eden Prairie. And 1A is Hermantown, Gentry Academy, and Montemedi. For girls hockey 2A, Andover, Edina, and Hill Murray. And 1A is Warroad, Chisago Lakes, and Proctor Hermantown. NCAA basketball now. Again, some of these games, their rankings came out Tuesday. Games have been played. They may have won or lost, and that's the weird thing when you follow college sports or pro sports. They come up with the rankings on Monday. You can be ranked number one Monday, lose on Wednesday. When you play Saturday, they still list you as the number one team because it lasts for a week. So keep that in mind when we're going through all this. Yeah, we may have said the number one and have lost twice this week, but as of right now, they're still number one until next Monday, So men's basketball, Gonzaga, Baylor, Michigan, top three. Michigan moving up to number 3. Gonzaga and Baylor, I'd like to say one of those two will be in the Final Four. First of all, I'd love that those two played each other for the championship, but we all know that 1 and 2 don't play in the championship at the end of the year, But I'd keep my eye on those two a lot coming up. Michigan, too, has been a good sleeper coming through. Keep our eye on them. Women's basketball, Stanford, who I think they lost this week, didn't they? To number 2 UConn. And South Carolina.
Stanford did South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah, so those rankings will change, obviously, but they were 2. They lost. They're going to move, but they're still ranked that way. NCAA men's gymnastics, Oklahoma, Ohio State, and Penn State are your top 3. And women's gymnastics are Florida, LSU, and Utah. Go for women's gymnastics if you get a chance to watch them or follow them. We put them a lot on our Facebook page. Very good team, very good young individuals on there and the individual performances. Keep an eye on them. Men's hockey. 1, Boston College. 2, North Dakota. 3, Minnesota State. That'd be Mankato for us local folk. Women's hockey, Cornell, Wisconsin, and Northeastern. Going on the sports schedules for our 2 local teams we follow here. Go for sports schedule. We'll start with men's basketball, 13-7 right now. Sunday, they're playing at Maryland. The 17th, they'll be at Indiana. And then next week on the 20th, home against the Fighting Illini. Women's basketball, record of 6-9 right now. Sunday, they got Wisconsin. Then the 17th, they're at Rutgers. And the 20th, at Maryland. So some tough games for the girls there. Men's hockey, 15-5 right now. This weekend at Notre Dame. And then next weekend, they're here against Michigan State. Women's hockey, 9-5-1. At home against Ohio State. At home against the Ohio State. And then next weekend, at Bemidji State. And I just saw a thing from Bemidji State now. They're allowing fans and students in. I don't know if you've ever seen the Stanford Center up there in Bemidji, nice big arena. They're going to allow 20 students in to watch the games in that big, huge arena. So it's a start. They're letting some students in. Let the fun begin. Speaking of them, here's the Bemidji State sports schedule for the week. And not all teams, we're just kind of highlighting some. I did cut a few off because running a lot of other stuff today. So BSU schedule men's basketball at 4-8 right now. And remember, in their conference up there in the NSIC, usually the men and women will go to the same town and play the other schools. Because of COVID, they've switched it. So like here, the men are at Duluth, the women the men are hosting Duluth, the women are at Duluth. So they kind of do the opposite. And then next weekend, the boys will be hosting Minnesota Crookston, and the women, who are currently 7-3, will be at Minnesota Crookston. Men's hockey, 7-4-3. A nice run here by the boys team there, or men's team. This weekend, hosting a pair against Northern Michigan, and next weekend at Michigan Tech. And the women's hockey, 2-10-2 for the girls up there. They're playing at Wisconsin this weekend. So that's going to be a tough battle for them. Like I said, Wisconsin's ranked number 2, and number 1 in some polls. But 2-10-2 against a top-ranked team in the country doesn't mean much. You never know. But good luck to the girls there. Then next weekend, the Gophers will be up at Bemidji State girls hockey. So that's that. Speaking of college sports, I know the Big Ten tournament announced their Big Ten tournament's kind of getting moved around, shuffled for dates and locations. But the March Madness, the entire TV schedule for 2021 has been released. CBS Sports put it out there because, funny, CBS is the network carrying it, so of course their sports page is going to have a release on it. The selection show will be Sunday, March 14th from 6 to 7. And no, we're not doing any live streaming for that because every other podcast does anyway, so we'll just watch what they do. We'll probably put stuff up on Facebook as it goes along, but we're not going to run anything special. The first four will take place March 18th at 5 p.m. Games will be on True TV and at 6:20 on TBS. Now, the first four, when they first started, is what they called the play-in games. They used to always be held in Dayton, Ohio, I believe. But now, because of the pandemic, they're moving it all to Indianapolis area there. So March 18th will be the first set of games. As previously announced, the 48 games that comprise the rest of the first and second round will start later than usual this year, with games starting at noon each day. The first round will be played on Friday the 19th and Saturday, March 20th. The second round taking place on the 21st and 22nd, Sunday and Monday. The games, like last year and like the other years, will be on CBS, TBS, TNT, and True TV. Most of us probably know where 3 of the 4 channels are on there. True TV, that's that network that has that show Impractical Jokers on it. There. Now you know where it is on your cable system. Because you'll see that show, and we all sit and watch it every now and then. That's the channel for basketball. Find it now and save it. The schedule will be organized so that there'll be at least one game played from noon until nearly midnight across the 4 days for the first 2 rounds. So, it used to be they'd have different time zones, so they kind of move the games around. But since they're all in Indiana, they're making it happen. There's always going to be a game playing. Save up your PTO. Without pushing the name of anybody, I know I've heard this before. You can start hearing commercials for getting your vasectomy done during the first weekend of the men's basketball tournament. Gives you an excuse to stay home all day and do nothing but sit around and watch basketball. So either that or get like a hangnail removed from your foot or something. I don't know. Sweet 16 games will air Saturday the 27th and Sunday the 28th. CBS will broadcast the first 2 games in the afternoon on both days with coverage beginning at 2 on Saturday and 1 on Sunday. TBS will televise 2 games in prime time each night beginning at 7. The Elite 8 is scheduled for the 29th and the 30th of March. Coverage beginning at 7 on Monday and 6 for TBS. Championship weekend, the Final Four, Saturday, April 3rd, and Monday, April 5th. They got those all on there. You can all go to cbssports.com to get the official times and locked up, and when the teams are announced, who's playing when, and your brackets will all be right there. College basketball or college sports also, like we said, hockey, we put out the schedule for the next couple weeks. They're all going to start their tournaments pretty soon too, we hope. I didn't mention much about tournaments yet because some conferences are still waiting to see how they want to do it, what they want to do. Hopefully it's going to be a regular tournament. I mean, they're playing the season normally, but we shall see. So keep following your favorite team and favorite conferences for that. Daytona 500 is Sunday. Yay, team. I love my race cars. I love my left turns. Few changes for NASCAR this season. They do have a dirt track race they're putting in, another road course race, which will be at Daytona later in the year. And they've added fan favorite to the show, Clint Boyer, will no longer be racing. He's going to be up in the announce booth. He's kind of taken the Michael Waltrip role of not the funny guy, but the light-hearted guy. That's the way Clint's always been. So he'll be a new announced name in the booth. Be a new chemistry up there, see how that works out. Him and the Rainbow Warrior, Jeff Gordon, will be up there. Now, Rainbow Warrior, when Jeff Gordon got the nickname years ago, was different than what today's Rainbow Warrior would be. Jeff Gordon got the nickname Rainbow Warrior because he was driving for DuPont, which is a paint company. That's why, not because of what today's Rainbow Warrior would be called. But so, yeah, Fox is going to have the first few races. They'll be splitting up the races like they do before. I know FS1 carried some races for Fox. NBCSN had some, but I know that network's all changing coming up the next year, so I don't know how that race schedule is going to go. But as you know, like we did last year through the season, we'll keep you posted each week what races on what channel and what time and where you can find it. They did have a lot of qualifying stuff this week. A lot of guys have changed teams, changed numbers, this and that. It's very exciting. It's their Super Bowl. They start the year with their Super Bowl, they call it. It is an interesting race. If you're going to watch any NASCAR race, the reason you watch that one is because they put out all their big guns. They really show a lot of stuff to make it fan-friendly. So especially if it's your first race to watch, kind of gets you intrigued on it. They don't just throw in the deep end and say, here's a race from Charlotte, watch and enjoy. So Daytona, they do a lot of fun stuff at it, got to get you into it. So if you're just getting into NASCAR, it's a big deal race. Everybody's putting they'll put 100% in anyway, but I mean, they've got all their bells and whistles and pictures and pretty clothes on for that one. But the announcers and the stats, they're all real fan-friendly, especially that first one. So that's a great race to watch. I do have baseball next. The only real few of the guys, the Mets have made some roster moves in the last couple of days. Not real big names, but just kind of shoring up some things. Funny. New York Mets designated pitcher Brad Branch for assignment, and they signed free agent shortstop Jason Vilder. He's done some time with Houston back a few years ago, Baltimore and stuff. You see a name around. And the Mets also signed free agent center fielder Alberto Almora Jr. They also designated catcher Ali Sanchez for assignment, designated pitcher Corey Oswald for assignment, and then they made a trade to Kansas City Royals. Kilo Lee to the Mets for left fielder Andrew Benetime. So left fielder for center fielder. Mets are still looking. They've picked up a few pitchers in the last week. When summer starts, Syndergaard's coming back. It looks like the Mets right now are planning on winning a lot of games 1-0, 2-1, not 15-14. They're going with pitching. Marcus Stroman has also said he's been working with DeGrom on techniques. Stroman is a great pitcher anyway. He's kind of picking up some stuff from Jacob now, so hopefully it helps. Hopefully it doesn't go to his head and he messes everything up and goes 4-18. Who knows? Like I said, the Mets, they didn't get Trevor Bauer in the big race form, bidding war form. Mets did offer more money, but he didn't go there. I personally am happy he didn't go to the Mets. I would have loved to see him there, but holy cow, with all the signings they would have had, that's a lot of pressure on that team. That's why I'm glad he didn't get it, because of the pressure. It would be just like, oh, you're a Mets fan, your team blew it. No, I don't want to hear that. A lot of places are picking the Mets to win their division. They're still picking the Dodgers to win the National League, but the Mets getting picked to win their division, and it's a tough division. The Braves are still the Braves. They did well last year. They're not a shoe-in or shoe-over. The Nationals did nothing last year, but they're kind of – okay, don't get mad. The Washington Nationals are kind of like the Minnesota Vikings. You don't know what you're going to get year to year. You can look at them on paper. It means absolutely nothing. They could be 10 or 20 games above or below 500. You don't know for the Nationals. You see them play. So we will see how it goes. The Phillies, I can't stand the Phillies. I hope they lose every game this year. I really do. They put a smile on my face. Mm-hmm. So that's what I got for baseball. Other stuff like we talked about, the minor leagues have done a lot of changing this year in baseball. As we heard, the St. Paul Saints are now going to be the Twins' AAA team. Well, the Mets had to do some reassigning too. Major League Baseball has redone the divisions in minor league baseball. So I'll just keep you Mets folks up. Appreciate it with that. The AAA East will be the conference they'll be in, and the Northeast Division will be the Syracuse Mets. Now, the St. Paul Saints will also be in the AAA East, but they'll be in a different division. I have not seen any schedule yet if the Syracuse Mets will play the St. Paul Saints. I don't know. We'll see. The AA, there you go. Yep. Look at you.
I'm going to cover a little bit this later, but you're right. The minor league baseball did a complete overhaul of all the leagues and all divisions. And here's the AAA East, the Midwest division where the Twins are with the St. Paul Saints.
And you see that National League teams in there too. Yep.
Yeah, it's overlapped. It should be fun. I'll keep this up there if anyone wants to.
The I-Cubs will be in town for the Saints. That'll be kind of cool. The Double-A Northeast for the Mets in the Northeast Division will be the Birmingham Rumble Ponies. The Rumble Ponies. The High A East North Division will be the Brooklyn Cyclones, and the Low A Southeast East Division will be the St. Lucie Mets. Will be where they are. Do you have any more baseball stuff before I go on to other things?
Yeah, I was going to cover a little bit of the minor league.
Yep.
The thing I want to get at here with, we know that St. Paul Saints here will be playing AAA, and it's exciting and fun for the local fans because I kind of think of it as the St. Paul Saints of old, where it's kind of having fun and playing in the independent league. But these because it's AAA, we're going to be seeing names and top prospects, not only with the Twins but the teams that they're playing. And so, for instance, in this Midwest division, where the teams will be playing most often, which means these will be the teams coming here to St. Paul, will be the Indians, the Pirates, the Cubs, the Reds, the Royals, the Detroit Tigers. This is all of their AAA top farm teams. And so not only just to go to the game to see the St. Paul Saints of the top Twins players in the farm system, but these other ones as well. And like you said, they'll overlap and play some other teams, not only just these guys, but it'll be fun to see some of these other top prospects at these games. So that's why I wanted to bring that up here, just to show.
Yeah, and sometimes the major league player, he tweaks his knee or something like that. He's got to go to AAA for a week to rehab it, just get the rust off. Maybe you see one of the big name guys bumbling through town here. That'd be kind of nice to see. That'd be great.
And then the last thing is for the Twins themselves, with all of this reorg. Here's their top to bottom AAA Saints. It'll be their best players in the farm system. Wichita will be their AA, which is new, and they'll be playing at a new field, freshly built last season, but due to COVID, no one played there. But Wichita's Wind Surge will be the AA team. Cedar Rapids Colonels still stay the same, but they move up from low A to high A. That'll actually be their high-end Class A team will now be the Colonels. And check this out at the bottom. Class A, no more Fort Myers Miracle. It'll be the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles starting this year. And the reason they flipped that around, they gave them a new nickname and a new logo. Fort Myers is the home for the development camp and the minor league home, I guess. And so instead of sending these guys out to Cedar Rapids to work their way back up to Fort Myers, the people in Fort Myers will already be there to start playing right next door, the Fort Myers Mighty Muscles. And then they'll work their way north into Iowa for Class A, Wichita, AA, St. Paul as AAA. So it'll work their way up in a nice little progression there. But the new name I got a kick out of it, the Mighty Muscles.
All right. Getting on my soapbox here, kind of revisiting something for a couple weeks ago I put up. I think it was kind of funny. Funny how this came out right after the Super Bowl, even though he'd done it for 13 games already this year. The Dallas Mavericks were not playing the national anthem before the games. Mark Cuban said they were going to do it. He okayed it. He told the league and this and that. And funny, no one mentioned it until after the Super Bowl. Don't want to compete with the big NFL Shield, so we'll let them have their day, and then afterwards we'll take their thunder. Now, I saw a few comments online, and I told people, I said, just relax. Before I get into the story on it, here's my opinion on it. Like I said before a couple weeks ago, please just stand for it with everybody else. Don't make a fool of yourself. But you look around. How many people are in national anthem are going for nachos, going for food, going for the bathroom, doing something else? They're not paying attention. Which, whatever. I've gotten over that. But at least stand and be respectful. Don't sit there and sit on your phone in your chair and be a bum. When I heard Mark Cuban did this, he said he did it to help raise awareness. He did it as an awareness thing. Well, in my opinion, Mark, you kind of took the platform away from everybody because now they couldn't kneel or sit during the national anthem because you weren't playing it. So you weren't giving them their platform to complain about, even though you thought you were complaining by not playing it. Some people took it as you were taken away from them. Now, the NBA does have it in their policies that you are to play the national anthem and you are to stand for it. The same league that last year during the bubble had Black Lives Matter on the court, written on the court. Players would sit and kneel during the national anthem when it was bubble last year, and they allowed that. Even though it says in their rules you should stand for the national anthem. The same league that does not test for marijuana in their drug policies. Just saying. Now, the Mavericks at one time, let's see if I can find my notes here real quick. Mark Hughes said it was his decision. He made it back in November. And he was just going with that. And he told the league, and other teams knew about it. And no one said boo. They all just kind of let it go. For the club's first 16 years of existence, when it was owned by Donald Carter, God Bless America was sung instead before home games at the old Reunion Arena. The Mavericks began playing the national anthem after the team was purchased by Ross Perot. Yes, that Ross Perot. On May 1st, 1996. Cuba bought the Mavericks in January of 2000. League rules state that players must stand for the national anthem, but those rules have not been strictly enforced over the last few years, like I just said during the pandemic last year and everything else. So I think I see why Mark did it. He said why he did it. But in my opinion, kind of backfired on you there, brother, because you didn't give them their form to sit down, to do this, to that. A lot of them in all sports, they all got their college basketball too. You see it. They got their Unity T-shirt or another T-shirt they wore during warm-ups. Fine. No problem. That would be your time to try to get your point out. But then again, who sits and watches warm-ups at a basketball game anymore? It used to be when we were younger. Okay, I'm talking to us old folks. When we were younger, you went and watched the warm-ups because that's when you got to see them. But now with cable, and you get to see teams all the time anyway, no one even goes for warm-ups and shoot-arounds anymore because, oh, I've seen that. Or they'll show a special on it later. So it's kind of taken away from that. So you really can't get your stuff out then. But you know what, guys? You're going to play a game. I go to a basketball game or a football game or a baseball game to watch the game. I don't give two hoots who you voted for. I don't care if you drink Coke or Pepsi. I don't care if you drive a Ford or a Chevy. Can you hit a fastball? Can you make a three-pointer? That's why I pay my money to come see. All right, so let's concentrate on that. That's why you get $9 million a year to shoot free throws, not to tell me who to vote for. There, I'm off my soapbox. Any other sports stuff? Because I got kind of some music news coming up now. Oh, hey, you're muted. There we go.
Two things. Today,
Yes.
just before we went live here, college basketball, as we know, I'm following the UConn Huskies women's team this year. They had an early game today on Friday, or early evening, I guess. They did beat Georgetown another by 20, 25 points. Paige Bueckers, a freshman, 19 points, 9 assists, almost had her first double-double tonight. And so they're off to a 16-1 start. Will now be ranked number 1 next week in the standings when it comes out. They've got 5 games left. They're a tough team, and 5 games to go, none of which should be too challenging. So they should head in there with they should be 21-1 heading into the postseason. She's breaking all sorts of records and she leads the nation right now in field goal 3-point percentage.
And, you know, I've seen a lot of the highlights for him. See a lot of the highlights of the games and post stuff with UConn. As a freshman, she's really got a lot of leadership and respect on that floor from the other girls, too.
Correct.
That's what I've seen out of her. And that's what impresses me is the rest of the teams like, go ahead, listen here, little freshman from Minnesota. You don't know Big East basketball. They've embraced her as a team leader. They've accepted her. And I think that's what's helped that team click. And that all goes back to coaching right there, too.
And they've got a lot of high-end recruits on that team.
Right.
And it's fun to watch the games because, like you said, they'll go to her in the clutch situation. They'll bring her, give the ball to her when someone else is getting double-teamed or whatever. She's the leader on the floor, which is kind of fun to watch. Not a redshirt freshman either, an authentic, true freshman starting in a big program like that. So that's kind of why I'm posting all this
Right.
stuff on her page and whatnot.
And not to rip on someone else, it's not like she's the leader and they're all looking to her, the leader freshman on Arizona State. Okay. And that's not to pick Arizona State, but you don't hear their girls basketball team being this dominant all the time. You always hear UConn up there all the time. And here's this freshman come in, and you look at her, God bless her, she looks like the girl next door. You know, just little girl with her ponytail going, that's it. She's just Joe Average or Jane Average, you know. She's not big and bulky. She's not 7 feet tall. She's just your average little point guard. But only 19 points tonight. I think she had 30 like 3 games in a row or something like that.
She did. Yep. So fun to watch. They're a good team. And like you say, it's not someone starting for a random team. It'd be like a rookie being the best pitcher on the New York Yankees pitching staff in a season. That's how phenomenal this is. It's just unbelievable. And so the last thing I've got is a trade signing. Major League Baseball signing took place. Marwin Gonzalez, the former Twin, last couple of years here with the Twins, did sign with the Red Sox. So he'll be in a Red Sox uniform. We know that left fielder Rosario will be with the Indians this year. And I don't know if we know an update on Odorizzi yet.
No. I mean, he's still technically one of us, but we don't know yet. Nelson Cruz signed a couple weeks ago. That's the only real big re-sign we've had.
Yeah, we're all going to be hearing a lot here this week, prepping for the spring training, and all the teams getting down there. The pitchers and catchers reporting first, and then workouts begin. And like I say, a week from tonight, we'll already have all the teams down there and already having the first workout. And games will be reporting on here following week.
Very exciting.
That'll be fun. I've got nothing else for sports except for the answer to the trivia question.
Yeah, because I have some music stuff and other stuff going on. So, yeah, let's do the trivia answer.
The trivia question was the Daytona 500 is this Sunday. Which team has the most number of wins as a team for the Daytona? The answer is Petty Enterprises with 9. We got Hendrick Motorsports up there with 8, Wood Brothers Racing with 5, Joe Gibbs, very good, but only has 4. Petty has 9 champions on that squad. So that's the answer. If anyone got that right, Petty Enterprises, Petty, Richard Petty, of course.
Richard Petty, King Petty, yeah.
That's the king. That's
4
the answer.
for Gibbs. 4 for Gibbs. 3 Super Bowls. That's 7, just like Tom Brady.
Good point. Tough to do.
Tom Brady got 2 championships, 2 different teams. Gibbs has 7 between 2 different sports.
Wow.
Think of that. Yeah.
That's all I've got for sports. Do you want to head into some music, maybe some concerts, updates?
I got some music information here and stuff like that. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame announcements came out this week. Some of the bigger names on there listed for these aren't all going in. These are names are eligible.
Nominees, right?
First timers are Foo Fighters, Iron Maiden, and the Go-Go's. Now that would be kind of a fun concert if those 3 went together. That'd be kind of cool. Are among the 16 artists nominated for possible induction in the Hall of Fame this year. Those first-time candidates are joined by this year's class of nominees included are Todd Rundgren, Devo, the New York Dolls, Rage Against the Machine, who has no right being on that list, Carole King, Chaka Khan, Mary J. Blige, Kate Bush, Jay-Z, LL Cool J, Fela Kuti, Tina Turner, and Dionne Warwick. I think it's a crying shame Tina Turner's not in there already. I'm writing a firm letter to somebody about that afterwards. I don't think Rage Against the Machine has any right being on that list. Another letter will be written there. But those are ones I've seen a lot of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame stuff. It's kind of cool because unlike the Academy Awards or the Emmys or anything else like that, when you see the Foo Fighters get inducted, the Foo Fighters go on stage, it's the Foo Fighters you're seeing. You see Tom Hanks win an award for a movie, Tom Hanks gets the award, not the character. I think the Academy Awards and Oscars would be better if you won it for your character in your TV show, you have to go accept that award in character. Because that's who won the award. Correct. You can't tell me the Grammys, or not the Grammys, but like the Oscars, the Emmys for TV, if Sheldon from Big Bang Theory's character went up there and got the award, or the cast went up there and got the award as their characters, that would be more fun. That would make it fun to watch again. because that way you can't get political and snotty. But so the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, always fun to listen to and watch. Most bands, when they're on there, they perform afterwards with a quick jam. That's always fun. The big jam at the end of it's really kind of cool to see all the different groups together. Just look at some of these names on there. If you had Iron Maiden, the Foo Fighters, and LL Cool J, and the New York Dolls, and Tina Turner doing "Rolling Down the River," that'd be cool. That'd be cool. But yeah, you go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'm sure their website would have a whole bunch of stuff on there and everything else. Some concerts coming up at the Medina. March 19th, Coco Matoya is still on there. April, they got the Arena Rocks and Heartless show on the 9th. Thunderstruck the following weekend, followed by Church of Cash on Saturday. And the 24th is the Shayla Lee Band. One other one I was looking up today. I looked up a certain artist because I heard an interview with her. And she's playing at this, so I got all excited. I thought, I got to push this concert because this is one I might want to go to. Lakes Jam Festival. Now, Lakes Jam up in Brainerd used to have two different ones, a rock one and a country one. They've kind of made it one big one this year. Now, they're not going to mix the bands on different nights. I mean, it's going to be rock and roll one night or country one night. It's not going to be a mix. But when I heard these names up here, I thought, you know what? This would be kind of cool. They pushed the event this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but they have two concerts on Wednesday night ahead of time they can go to. And 7 p.m., the opening act is Crown Jewel, which is a Queen tribute band. I've seen them. They're very good. And the headliner that night is Hairball. Thursday the 24th, 2 p.m. start. Now check out this lineup. Autograph, Kip Winger, Slaughter, Lita Ford, and Rat.
Wow.
That right there. The next couple nights for our country artists, I've heard some of the names, some I haven't. Sailor Jerry, she's all right. The Plot Hounds, Runaway Jane. I looked up Runaway Jane. Those three girls sing half as good as they look. They're going to be awesome. They're really good. Tracy Lawrence, I remember listening to him back in the 80s, 90s. He's pretty good. And John Party, I've heard the name. I've probably heard his song. Couldn't tell you which one it is, but I know he's good because I've heard the wife and daughter mention him a lot. Saturday 26th, Eric Chesser, Larry Fleet, Matt Stell, Carly Pierce, and Brothers Osborne. And like other things, if you've ever been to other musical festivals like that, they will also have a second stage and a VIP stage with other up-and-coming bands, local bands playing on that. But that's Brainerd Lakes area coming up. I didn't give the days. I'm sorry. Let me back up that. June 23rd through 26th in the Brainerd Lakes area. So, also Hairball, April 10th at the Myth. My event, athlete, musician of the week this week comes from a TV show. An episode TV show did based on a real life event that happened that same week. WKRP in Cincinnati, a TV series that takes place on a rock radio station, ran an episode devoted to the tragic events of December 3rd, 1979, where 11 fans were killed at a Who concert at Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati, or Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati. That episode aired on this date. In Concert was a very special episode televised on television series WKRP in Cincinnati. Airing as the 19th episode in the second season, it was the first broadcast in the United States of the February 11th, 1980. And the concept of the episode was described as Arably Anonymous by William Benson, writing in the St. Petersburg Evening Independent. The episode, what happened is the Who had a concert at Riverfront Coliseum in Cincinnati. And that's when they used to have the old school general admission
Oh. You there?
a lot of people got crushed at the guardrail from people wanting to get up there. That's what happened. What's also kind of weird about it is the episode of WKRP was kind of like any other radio station. It wasn't making. I mean, the characters fitted perfect for it. The owner of the station came the next day. He was all excited. Oh, we had such a great turnout last night at the concert. Look at all the people at the concert. Yay, yay, yay. He didn't hear the news about the 11 people dying. Because, again, 1980, you didn't have internet and posts and Facebook to tell you about it. That changed a lot of stuff in music industry right there, concerts and everything else, where you can't have the festival seating anymore. You had to have a ticket for a seat, and you sat in the seat. Now, I've been some concerts where the seats kind of get pushed to the side and the first few rows move up, but you got a bunch of security up there keeping an eye on that so this doesn't happen 50 years later. 40, 50 years later. Now, you go to your outdoor festivals, been to Woodstock out in Winstead, where it's a field and you got your lawn chair and you sit at it. But you know what? Most people aren't getting out of those lawn chairs and they're sitting there. That's the idea of the outdoor festival. Yeah, well, there'll be mosh pits for the rock band ones, but that's over in a designated area. They don't have 5 of them going on. And it's kind of a controlled anarchy over there. There'll be people dancing up front, but it's a controlled thing. They're not just pushing and shoving anymore. The Who took a lot of flack for this a little bit too because, well, they were the band. That really proved that the bands had no real reaction or work with the Coliseums or arenas they were at. Riverfront Coliseum, Cincinnati, that was their responsibility for the crowd, not the Who. Yeah, the Who hired extra security guard around the stage to save them personally from people, but not for crowd control, not to make sure people didn't get crushed at the guardrail by everybody trying to get close. So if you ever get a chance to go back, I know WKRP is a hard one to get in reruns because of ASCAP and people wanting royalties for their songs being played out because the radio stations, they played part of real songs. Now these writers and singers want a cut for it, for their 18 seconds of their song on WKRP and rerun. Free advertising, buddy, take it. Anyway, so, that's what happened there. So if you get a chance to watch an episode or just look into it more, it's really kind of an interesting thing. Security for the concert by The Who in Buffalo, New York the next night was doubled. The band dedicated to the victims. 2 concerts scheduled at Riverfront Coliseum had been postponed that were by Blue Oyster Cult on December 14th and by Aerosmith the 21st. December 27th, 1979, Cincinnati Municipal Coliseum enacted bylaws banning festival seating as a result of this event. The council and the government of Ohio passed laws involving crowd control. So I'll say all this just all kind of helps spur better laws and regulations and that at concerts. So when you go to a concert and someone's pushing and shoving and you're getting all whiny about it, could be worse. Could be worse. But that is my This Week in History event for you. You can find out a lot more of this on, if you go to Wikipedia, look up the event on it too.
What year was it?
I'm sorry?
What year was that?
Let's see. The episode was based on, let me get the exact date here for you. The tragic events of December 3rd, 1979.
Wow.
A Who concert. So, yeah. The show was done in 1980 on WKRP. It was a recent event. It's like they picked something from 50 years ago and tried to make it recent. It was still pretty fresh on a lot of people's minds, especially in the Cincinnati area. And here that the basis of their show was they switched from elevator music to rock and roll, and then this real-life rock event happened. So kind of played into their storyline a little bit, helping them that, all the old people saying rock and roll's bad. Look at all this. And
This week's album of the week review is a 1976 release by Heart called Dreamboat Annie. Dreamboat Annie was the debut studio album by American rock band Heart. Let me bring it up here for the listeners and the viewers. Here's the album cover. Heart, and on the left, Nancy Wilson on the right. They did a debut album. They were based in Vancouver, British Columbia at the time, and the album was recorded in Vancouver and first released in Canada, but it released in the United States on 45 years ago this weekend, Valentine's Day. 1976. So 45 years this album is on Going to Be Sunday. Let's see here. The album contains 2 commercially successful singles, Crazy on You and Magic Man. Both became staples on North American FM radio. They also released the title track, Dreamboat Annie, later December 1976. The album was recorded on a 16-track tape recorder at the Can-based Studios in Vancouver, which was later renamed to the current Mushroom Studios. It was the first commercially successful album ever recorded there. The single Magic Man was backed up on the backside by How Deep It Goes, and was picked up for radio play by a popular radio station in Montreal, while the band was playing on some very small touring club dates. And then Dreamboat Annie was released in Canada in September. The album cover was designed by current Emily Carr University of Art and Design Communication Design Director Deborah Shackleton. And Heart's first radio success earned them a spot opening on a Montreal concert in October 1975 for Rod Stewart, which prompted more sales and more airplay in that region. They went on to sell, this album went on to sell platinum. The success of the album indirectly led to the breakdown between the band and the label. The first cracks appeared when the group tried to renegotiate their royalty rate to be more in keeping with what they thought with a platinum band should be earning. For this, Michael Fisher, who was Ann Wilson's boyfriend at the time, stepped aside as the manager of the band, and they hired Ken Kinnear. But Mushroom's tough stance on negotiations and the opinion that perhaps the band was possibly a one-hit wonder led Mike Flicker to leaving the label, and he did, and stayed on to produce for Heart, but left Mushroom, the record relationship. And then the relationship broke down completely when the label bought a full-page ad in Rolling Stone magazine, mocked up with an National Enquirer front page, and the ad used a photo similar to the one on Dreamboat Annie album cover, showing Ann and Nancy back-to-back with bare shoulders. The caption under the photo says, "It was only our first time." The band was not consulted and was furious at the meaning of this. And so they got into records there. They split up. The first record deal that they had was for 2 records, and they broke up. So they said, we're not going to do this. And so they released another one with an album called Magazine, but that had incomplete tracks and some studio outtakes, some live material. And the band had to go and get a federal injunction to stop the distribution of that album called Magazine because it wasn't done by them. But the record company wanted to get it out because of their contract. And so they returned later to re-record, remix, edit, and resequence the recordings. Later, it was officially released in 1978. That too sold 1 million copies in less than a month. Now, the person behind, the promoter behind all this was Shelley Siegel. And she was behind the whole ad for the first time, and the vice president of the record label. This person died a few months after the re-release, and then Mushroom Records went bankrupt 2 years later. The episode had at least one more repercussion. Not long after the ad appeared, a radio promoter asked Ann Wilson about her lover. He was referring to Nancy and implying that the sisters were incestuous lesbian lovers. The encounter infuriated Ann, who went back to her hotel and wrote the words to become the Heart signature song, Barracuda. In 1980s, after Mushroom Records folded, Capitol Records acquired the right to the album and released it in 1986. Here's the track listings from Dreamboat Annie. Song 1, Magic Man. Song 2 was a little intro of Dreamboat Annie called Fantasy Child. Song 3, Crazy on You. Song 4, Soul of the Sea. Song 5, Dreamboat Annie. Song 6, White Lightning and Wine. This is a pretty good song, White Lightning and Wine. This talks about the mid-70s with the drug use here and alcohol. Wine, of course, mentioned with White Lightning. The street term for speed at the time was White Lightning, and so that song is about that. Song 7 is Love Me Like Music and I'll Be Your Song. Song 8, Sing Child. Song 9, How Deep It Goes. And then song 10 is another reprise of Dreamboat Annie. Heart is led by Ann Wilson, lead singer, Nancy Wilson, electric guitar and vocals. She also plays acoustic guitar, both 6-string and 12-string. Roger Fisher and Howard Leese did a lot of the electrical guitar work. Electric guitar, Steve Fossen on bass. Mike DeRozier, Dave Wilson, non-related to the other Wilsons, and Doris Maxwell did drums on the record. Special direction on the album, Mike Fisher. And so this was Ann Wilson's boyfriend, and so he was with the band at first before they had some other reiterations of the band. But Roger Fisher and Mike Fisher were brothers, and then they were dating Ann and Nancy Wilson, who were sisters. And they were in that whole Seattle sound area, moved up to Vancouver, made it big, and then went back and opened a recording studio called Bad Animals in Seattle. And that's the album of the week, 40 minutes and 2 seconds long. But the studio was Can-based in Vancouver. Most successful album, first ever commercially successful album ever to come out of that studio. And they are also now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's the album review. Any questions on that one, Andy?
No. Very interesting. I did not know that about the second album that almost came out, magazine. I did not know that.
Yeah, they got it out behind their backs to get part of the deal done because they were making big money. So the recording studio sloppily put together some tracks, some demos, some live, put a sloppy cover on it and sent it out, and they're making some good money at it. But Hart said, that's our money, that's our record, and why did you send it out? So they had to get a federal injunction to stop the production of that version of records. And then later they went back and put together, so if you get the magazine album called Magazine, that the official one was tidied up. The music and everything was cleaned up, and that's an actual one. And that thing went platinum in what, 1 month, was it?
Yep.
But boy, the bad, after the success that they had when they got used by the record label industry, that's when the lyrics to Barracuda came out. That's really shot them to stardom. But they got really lambasted there all in 1976 when that all came out. So
I heard an interview this week. I think I sent it to you from the Professor of Rock. He's got a YouTube show. He had an interview with Ann Wilson. And it was a recent interview in the last few years. And he asked her, she said, there's one song she absolutely hates performing. She hates performing live. She just can't stand the song. And the reporter, huh?
I think I know the answer to this one.
Is it from the video I sent you, or are you just going to take a guess?
I'm going to take a guess. I didn't watch it, but is it All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You?
Yep, she can't stand that song. She goes, I was over it in 10 minutes. And the history behind that song, it was originally written for Don Henley to sing. So here's a song written about from a man's point of view. They changed a few lyrics to be a woman's point of view. She goes, and in the 80s when it came out, early 90s, all these like, yeah, woman, you got the right. You tell them what to do. And she's like, no, that's not. Because I think the reason she hated the song, she says, that's not me. That's not who I am. You know,
it's a one night stand, love affair.
Yeah,
the
it's an great song, but
nothing what Hart would ever do. But I think Desmond Child wrote that song, maybe.
I can't remember who. They mentioned the name there. I think I sent you the interview, but Professor Rock, he's got a YouTube show. He's got great people on there. I highly recommend you listen to that one if you can find it. The guy
written for a male, but Hart sings it and Wilson sings it. It goes on to be a huge hit, a lot of airplay, but she couldn't stand the song or even what it stood for because it was totally something that they would never have done or did.
Done. Yeah.
Even though they were very active in the wild times in the 70s, but never
they were past that. This was 20 years later, and they were,
This was 90 to 2000 when that came out. Yeah. Way later, but
so they were
on this album. I did like
White Lightning and
White Lightning and Wine is very good. That's another deep cut. That's a good song, but you'll never hear that on the radio. But if you get the album, 1976, released on Valentine's Day coming up here, 45-year anniversary of this album.
Yes.
That's all I've got. Anything else, Andy?
No. Just to let you know, we kind of started today. You'll find out through the baseball season. I'll take the National League. Dan's going to take American League.
I'll focus on the American League. Yep.
We'll continue with our Mets and Twins fandom as we do through it, following those. And again, if there's a team you like and you want to hear a little more stuff brought up about them, please let us know. We'll mention them more. You got a college team you like. I mentioned the Gophers and BSU a lot. Bison football during the football season. UConn women's basketball now. If there's a team you like, you want to hear us give it a little more love and respect, let us know. Drop us a note on social media networks.
Awesome. Yeah, we're active on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So get it out there. We're also on Anchor for our podcasts, which drop every Sunday, weekly Sundays at 9 a.m. So that's all we've got for the show today. Leave your comments below if you have any, and thanks for listening.
We'll see you next week. Bye.